Today we're at Fabric Depot talking about Gutermann Fusible Thread. It's really a great tool for working with quilt bindings as well as other projects. What we do is we wind it onto the bobbin, sew it only in the seam allowance so that your binding can be fused in place for the final stitching. Now what I have done here is I've sewed my binding onto the back because I'm going to turn it over to the front and stitch it through all layers by machine. You can also sew it to the front and then roll it to the back and stitch it by hand, but I prefer doing mine by machine, especially for large quilts. Fusible thread in my machine and put regular thread on top. Now I've set it for zigzag and a 5.0 width, 2.0 length. And also I'm going to tighten the upper tension. That's because the bobbin thread, this being the bobbin thread, is really thick and it doesn't want to feed through, and so we want to tighten the upper tension to kind of pull it out and pull it through. Now since you want to have your fusible thread on this side so you can fuse it on, so that means that it has to be down towards the bobbin. Here we go, stitching in the seam allowance. There, you can see there's plenty of fusible thread to fuse the binding on. We're going to go over to the ironing board. When I originally sewed the binding on, I pressed it towards the seam allowance before doing this stitching, and then I folded it away. Then I did my zigzag stitching. So now it's all pressed away from the back. Take this, make sure never to touch your sole plate to the fusible. Miter my corners. It's got to press through 2 layers of quilting cotton in order to get to that fusible thread. So that's why I'm leaving it on for a good 10 seconds, maybe even 15 seconds, because that's not going to hurt it. This is cotton. Cotton can take the high heat. Here we have everything fused in place. I'm going to start over here where it's a little bit cooler and start stitching. Okay, now we're ready to take it to the sewing machine. The idea is to get it through all the layers so that it basically looks the same back and front. Okay, let's see. I always want to see what it looks like. All that nice stitching right there and on the front, that's what I'm going for, to make it really nice looking on back and front, and that fusible thread helps hold it in place. Okay, here's the final product. Everything is beautifully done. A little practice and great tools like Gutermann Fusible Thread, you can do a beautiful job like this too. Gutermann Fusible Thread, available here at Fabric Depot.